So let's be heard. In Baltimore, Maryland, we're up to 190 homicides on the year. 190. 9 this past week. We can't even keep it to 1 a day. What are we doing here? When are people going to wake up? Can anybody admit that there's not another gun law you can make in Maryland? And that this is some kind of indicator that gun control doesn't cure murder? There are people killing each other out there. They're killing each other. It's out of control. You know, maybe we should have a talk about our values in this country. We have a society that demonizes Judeo-Christian values, says that religion is responsible for all evil in the world. Well, this way ain't working out. What about loving your neighbor? Do unto others. Having respect for people and their property. Thou shalt not murder. What about valuing the family unit? You know, they'll say the family unit's overrated. They say, just do what makes you happy. Well, you know what the family unit brings? It brings accountability. Joe from Sellersville came on the program last week, and he said when he was a kid, if you got in trouble, the police would bring you home to your parents. Because what your parents were going to do to discipline you was far worse than what the police would do. We're not talking about abuse. We're talking about accountability and discipline. When you teach that life is all about you, all that matters is you, and do whatever makes you happy, there's no accountability. You become your own God. And guess what? Human beings aren't cut out for that. You know, I'm certainly not immune. That's part of being a Christian, is recognizing, listen, I'm flawed. I'm a sinner. I'm not worthy. I'm not capable of earning righteousness. Romans 3:23, all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. Not some, not most, not almost all have sinned and fall short. And this is no knock on single-parent homes. There are single parents out there who are absolute heroes. I was blessed enough to grow up in a house with both my parents. But each of my parents grew up in single-parent households. My grandma, who's at home in New York listening to this program right now, she worked all kinds of jobs. Single-parent hero. My father-in-law, who's been at work since 4 a.m., worked ridiculous hours as a single parent, still made time to do whatever he had to do to raise his boys right. That's a hero. My buddy Matt, met him in the gun community. He's a motorcycle enthusiast, very active in the church. Single parent, hero. Some of these people have ended up single parents by way of tragedy. There's a death. Very sad stuff. But they find a way to value the family unit and hold it sacred. These are heroes. Other families, they have single parents because somebody took off. Somebody decided that they were God in their own life, that what made them happy was more important than their responsibility to the family unit. You know what they are? Bums. You think that society is right, and you just need to do whatever you have to do to be happy? Doesn't matter who gets hurt along the way. You're a bum. You're not a tough guy for doing whatever you want. You're a bum. You're not a queen who gets to have a single lifestyle the way she's always wanted to live. You're a bum. And until we figure this out, until we acknowledge the fact that it's never been more difficult to buy a gun legally in this country, that guns were not more difficult to buy in the old days, that the values in this country have changed, and that this lie that society's fed us, that we're all the most important thing in our world, it ain't going to get any better. But in Baltimore, Maryland, 190 homicides on the year, 9 last week. This in a city of roughly 620,000 people. But you know what? These politicians in these places, they don't care. They propose new gun laws to make it look like they care, but they don't care. They do it for the sake of convenience. You know, Cory Booker goes up there on this national stage, and this knucklehead cries the blues about how we need more gun laws. Dude, you live in New Jersey. How many more gun laws can you possibly have? He talks about, oh, we had all these murders last week in my neighborhood. We need to be more like Connecticut. The knucklehead has no idea what the gun laws even are in his own state. You've got firearms purchaser identification cards. You've got handgun purchase permits. You've got restrictions on hollow point rounds for who knows what reason that can land you 18 months in state prison per round if you're outside of exemption. You've also got magazine capacity restrictions, 10 rounds. Do you know the law in your own jurisdiction, sir? Because if you don't, then shame on you. And if you do, you're obviously being extremely disingenuous. And you're throwing this rhetoric out there for the sake of convenience. And shame on you too. You don't care. But I care. And I'll continue to give these numbers every week until they care. And because our listeners, you care.